Welcome to Antiques Academy, Tennessee, where learning history can be fun. You never know what intriguing history you might stumble over while investigating your antiques and collectibles.
Today's mystery item is this beautiful bowl. As an antiques detective, can you help decipher the Japanese hallmarks and inscription located on the bottom of the bowl to determine this item's story? Please look closely at the photos of the Japanese characters labeled column 1, 2, etc. I look forward to reading your comments in the discussion of the group. Please subscribe and leave your comments below for discussion or send me a message on email. Look at the design of this lovely work of art. The bowl is rather large and heavy. It is skillfully designed and crafted of solid, heavy-gauge metal. It measures 4 inches deep with a nice attached foot rim. The bowl is wide at about 10.25 inches in diameter across the top. The approximate weight on a postal scale is about 30 ounces.
When I found it about 20 years ago in a Denver antiques mall, it was almost black and marked as silver plate. I examined the bowl and, although I could not read the Japanese marks on the bottom, I surmised that anything with this much writing on it must be saying something important. What do you think? Would you have taken a chance on buying the item as a found treasure? One guideline I use is, if it looks like quality, if it is not damaged, if has an appeal to you personally, and is something you wouldn't mind owning, and is priced right, buy it. After all, that is part of the learning experience of being an antiques detective. Kiku, chrysanthemum, Japan's symbol kusayama. The chrysanthemum, or kiku in Japanese, is a symbol that represents longevity and rejuvenation. The chrysanthemum is the Japanese Imperial family seal and Order of the Chrysanthemum. It polished up beautifully, and I was pleased to find no wear through to a base metal. It has a simple, unadorned design and reminds me of a chrysanthemum flower shape that I have seen on other Japanese objects of art and on silk kimonos. But what are all those marks? Who can read them? Fortunately, my mother-in-law had a good friend from Japan, and she borrowed my bowl to show her friend. She surprised me one morning with the following description. Unfortunately, she could not translate all the symbols, and some symbols she was not sure she had translated correctly, so if you can help in this regard, we would love to hear from you.
This beautiful bowl was presented by the Japanese government to a Taiwan sugar company to reward and motivate for good productivity at the beginning of World War II. The sugar factory was the Ensuiko Sugar Factory, but the representative to whom it was presented is not clear, or who actually presented the bowl representing Japan is as yet unknown. During the Japanese occupation of Taiwan, a dozen sugar companies were founded on the island, including Ensuiko, the company mentioned in the engraved dedication. At its peak, the number of sugar factories on the island reached 42, and Taiwan's sugar production ranked only after India, Cuba, and Java in quantity. According to the internet, an exposition was organized to celebrate the 40 years of Japanese rule in 1935. The sugar industry exhibit reminded visitors, the sugar industry is the mother of Taiwan's culture. In April 1938, when this bowl was presented to the Ensuiko Sugar Factory, the Emperor of Japan would have been Hirohito. Hirohito was the 124th Emperor of Japan, reigning from 1926 until his death in 1989. Hirohito was in power during World War II. The next photo is a 1946 post-war photo of the defeated emperor and American General Douglas MacArthur. Hirohito's reign of over 62 years is the longest of any historical Japanese emperor and one of the longest reigning monarchs in the world. According to the internet, the history between Japan, China, and Taiwan concerning sugar production goes back further and deeper than that. The silversmith hallmark is that of Miymoto Shoko. The hallmark might be a pre-1912 hallmark and indicates high-grade 970 sterling. Unfortunately, not all of the inscription could be deciphered. We only know that this bowl was presented at a time of great turmoil that encompassed many of the countries in the world. April 1938 was the eve of World War II, and the bowl may have been an older bowl that was available and was just inscribed and dedicated in 1938. Who presented this bowl? Who was the silversmith Miymoto Shoko? To whom was it presented, and by whom? In 1880, Katsu Miymoto, founded the Miymoto Shoko company in order to increase the sales of tobacco and cigarettes to foreigners and produce different silverwares, particularly silver cigarette cases. In 1899, Miymoto's store moved to Ginza District, Tokyo, where it is still located today. On the wave of popularity, Miymoto designed and produced his products for many diplomatic persons, such as Imperial House of Japan, Imperial Household Department, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and other government agencies. Known for beautiful quality workmanship, in early 1900s Miymoto was chosen as the president of the Precious Metal Manufacturers Association of Tokyo, in which he served for many years.
As an antiques detective, our next thought is to contact the Miymoto company and see if they can add any content to the history of this bowl by translating the inscription on the bottom. If we are lucky, they may have old records in their archive about the bowl, who presented the bowl, and who received the bowl representing the sugar company.
Please let me know your comments in the space below, especially if you have more information or if you have an item that you need help investigating. As an antiques detective and treasure hunter, we can't keep everything. See the link below and follow us on eBay.